You got some pretty big cojones for coming back. Just don't know when to give up! Get out of my way, Nero!
Defeating you like this has no meaning.
Come on, Vergil. Let's do this.
Heal your wounds, Dante. Get strong. After that, we'll settle the matter. Thank you, Nero.
Damn it. If that's your brother, what happened to V? He returned. To himself. Go home, Nero. This doesn't concern you.
Like hell. I lost my right arm because of him!
This is not your fight. I need to stop him, and that's all that matters.
I'm not gonna let you have all the fun, Dante!
You don't get it.
Let me guess. I'm dead weight? Well, you can
That's
shove
not
it!
it, Nero.
What is it then?
He's your father!
What?
I had the feeling the first time I saw you, but I just wasn't sure. And then I saw how the Yamato reacted. And I was certain. He's your father. Now he needs an ass kicking. But I can't have you go kill your old man.
My father.
That day, if our positions were switched, would our fates be different? Would I have your life and you mine? Let's settle this. Dante.
What's happening now?
Oh God, I thought it was over.
This isn't good. We're gonna get dragged into this.
Dante, what happened?
My dumbass brother's back and I'm gonna rip him a new one.
Vergil's... How?
Dante! Made it for Lady and she paid for it, so consider it a rental. Hey, you can't just...
Okay, we'll take care of that later. Right now, you three get the hell out of here. I'm gonna go take care of old douchebag. Got a feeling this one's gonna be a doozy.
And welcome back to part 14 of Devil May Cry 5, where today we're pushing towards the end piece now. The ultimate fight that was not only something that throughout the course of this game you kind of knew was coming, you kind of could feel it that they were going to find a way to bring Vergil back, but it was a fight that had been anticipated since Devil May Cry 4's release, of what a modern fight against new Dante would be like after the access to style swapping, and what a fight maybe between Nero and Vergil would be. But we've got another mission in our way before we get there just yet.
Where you been? I thought you went back into Vergil. You're gonna wish you did.
Oh, the wise guy Dante. We were spawned from Vergil's abominable thoughts. But you knew that already.
Come to think of it, I did know something was off. Just like with my old brother.
Well, we're merely the discarded thoughts from when he was Nilo Angelo. No longer bound in his consciousness. We're here now to kill you of our own free will. Liberating! And kill you we shall, Dante. Us, not Vergil.
I'm going to start with what I like, because there's a lot I don't like. And that's the remix of Devil May Cry 1 music. The fact that when you're fighting Griffin here, it plays a remix of Griffin's old theme from yesteryear, way back in 2001. It's just great. I love this music. It's going to do the same when we fight Shadow, and it's going to do the same when we fight Nightmare. It's just nice to listen to it. But I do have to say, unfortunately, this entire mission is my least favorite mission in the entire game. Like, fighting the bird, this little bug, is fine, and fighting Shadow I think is a nice challenge. It's the moment you have to deal with Nightmare later on that I start to really not like this mission, because I just don't like the fight. And because the entire mission is built up to this fight, because the encounters in between you don't bother with because they will only hurt your stylish ranking because there's so few enemies. All you can do is push on through these fights to try and get through them, and then end up hating them. But once you've done about 80% of the health, Griffin will run away, and it's the same for the fights moving on until the last one. You're not finishing them, you're just doing most of their life. But as you'll see, we'll go over here, and there's 1, 2, 3 of the dudes with the scythe. That's not enough for a justified encounter. That will only hurt your style rank. And in my personal opinion, of the 3 bad missions, in terms of, when I say bad missions, I don't mean in terms of like their quality, I mean in terms of trying to get S ranks. The 3 that really suck, 10, 12, and 18, I think this one's the worst of the 3, because it's just really these little fights that you're working off, so you have to kind of hit them perfect to get a good rank. But as you go through this mission, you can break these routes here that will open up or close things down in the ultimate boss arena at the end of the mission, to give you more of a heads up, more room, or restrict a Nightmare, so you have more of a chance against it. No matter what, this fight's going to be difficult and it's going to test you a lot, so be prepared for that as you go. Especially when it's on any difficulty above normal. As we go and push on here, I'm holding the circle button here so I can release the summon swords immediately to try and get as much free damage on Shadow as possible, because Shadow is a much bigger threat than Griffin because of some of its attacks, and both Griffin and Shadow have a get off me attack. If you do enough damage to them, they will shatter to their orb self, and then you have to try and break the orb. When they recover from their orb, both Shadow and Griffin have an immediate get off me attack you need to be ready of. Shadow's is a bit slower because it will attack first and then it will go into it. So it will do that attack, then it does it. I managed to interrupt it then, which is kind of surprising. But Griffins I usually don't get away from, so I usually get cocky and try and get more damage. So it's going to do that, and then it's going to spike out, and the range of that is huge. You can already tell by the looks of it, but its hitbox is slightly bigger than it's slightly bigger than that anyway. Oh come on! I thought I'd be able to get out of the way then. Oh. Okay, dodge to the side. Oh, okay, it's invincibility. I didn't get the invincibility. Not the invincibility, the recovery properly, so I was just stuck to be comboed. That should be enough damage. Should run away in a sec. Yep, there we go. It's just like back on Malay Island, back in DMZ1, where you fight the boss and then they book it and you have to fight them again. But now we've got another loose encounter, and we've also got the biggest gimme of a blue orb fragment in the game. Coming up here on this platform, if you linger around, free free red imbuses, I think what they were called for a second, will spawn. Like the guys who drop loads of red orbs if you kill them. If you kill all 3, it just gives you a blue orb fragment. It's like you're gonna like wreck them. You're just going to go for it. Also, I love doing that. I love doing it because if you linger in this encounter for too long, Griffin shows up and you have to fight both of them. But if you defeat Shadow, it ends the encounter immediately, even after Griffin's shown up. So if you just prioritize Shadow and get it dealt with, you can stop Griffin from stepping in and being a problem. But as you can see, there are stylish points for 2,900. We're not getting a good rank in this mission. And we're not on good health either, so to be honest, I've only died once so far, but I really wouldn't be surprised if a second death's incoming on this playthrough. Because Nightmare, I tend to have a lot of trouble with Nightmare. Nightmare is my nightmare in terms of difficulty. It's always the boss that gives me trouble and always the one I die to the most consistently. So I really wouldn't be surprised if I lose this fight. Well, I'm sure you guys will find out, because I'll just cut it in and then cut out to my next successful attempt. Oh! Well, yeah, so this is attempt 2. Let's see how this goes. If you're wondering how I got so much more health, well, look at my red orb count. It's lower than how it was. There's your answer. But the main trick with Nightmare is the fact that you're also dealing with Griffin and Shadow, so you need to pay attention to everything as you go. I'm just going to armor through that to get the damage in. If you completely destroy both Griffin and Shadow, Nightmare will go out of its way to resurrect them. Like it does in the main game if you're playing it as V. If you summon Nightmare, Nightmare will resurrect the other two if they're down. But when it resurrects them, it spends its health to do so. And also, remember that giant Doom laser, which I don't know if I've actually got to showcase in this game, because it so rarely happens if you just let the AI do its own thing, where Nightmare jumps back, puts both its hands down, and does this ginormous white laser of doom. Like this huge death beam. If it does that, that will also spend some of its health to do so. So although this boss, I think, actually has like either the most or second most health of any boss, the reason why I say Cerberus and... well, Gilgamesh is a guarantee. Gilgamesh absolutely has more health. But the reason why I say Cerberus has more health is because during the fight, the boss will be spending its own health. So the fight won't take anywhere near as long. It's just, it will wreck you up anyway because... mostly because you're dealing with 3 big threats at the same time. More so Shadow. Shadow will just appear when you least expect it and ruin your day. But hopefully I'll be able to kill Griffin here. Ow! Just before... yeah, we got him. So now both of them are down. Nightmare's AI priority is going to be getting them back up, which will cause it to spend health, which is why it warped away from us. So I'm going to immediately step in and get Sin Devil Trigger ready, because the moment it's picked up, I'm going to... look at its health. Look how quickly its health dropped. I'm going to want to try and get rid of it. Oh, okay. I was going to see if I could try and get a triple S to get a free use of the Sin, like of Quad S, but whatever. We'll just go for it and try and rinse. And I'll just try and see if I can squeeze in Judgment at the end, in the sole hope of the Judgment will catch the other two and kill them. So if Nightmare lives, which it will, because you can't kill Nightmare in this form, it needs to be in its orb state for you to kill it, which actually I might get it. I'll take that back. It doesn't matter, we got it killed.
Should have known better. You got a good heart, but you're about as sharp as a marble.
Perhaps. But if you had even a little bit of trouble defeating us, imagine what Vergil can do to you. Go see for yourself. Us. This is our final fight. And the end of Vergil's nightmares. Godspeed, Dante. You'll need it.
Rest in peace, little chicken. It's been a bash.
He's got this! We gotta go now!
So this guy Vergil. Know him?
Vaguely, yes.
Dante said that guy's my father. What the hell's going on, Trish?
His logic is sound. I had a hunch myself.
This doesn't make any sense!
I know you hate Vergil, but you can't kill your own father!
It's true. You'd never recover from that. You saved us. You should be proud. Now you can put all this behind you.
Nico, stop the car!
No chance! After all this, are you insane?
by myself.
But now there's no more waiting. There's nothing left between Dante and his showdown with Vergil. 4,200 stylish points. Ugh. So when you're ready, press on to mission 19. Simply titled Vergil. Make sure you're prepared, you got your loadout set how you want it to be, and then when you're ready to go, click start and prepare for a fantastic boss fight.
Hey, Vergil! Your portal opening days are over. Give me the Amato.
If you want it, then you'll have to take it. But you already knew that.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
How many times have we fought?
Hard to say. It's the only memory I have of us since we were kids. Time to finish this, Vergil. Once and for all.
It's time for a showdown with Vergil. If you've played Devil May Cry 3, you already have a good idea of what you should be doing in this fight. As a whole, compared to him in DMC3, I would say that he is easier in this game than he was, but it doesn't mean he's a cakewalk by any sense, and you will very likely die to him, especially on the harder difficulties. But keep in mind, as Dante, I'm playing on Son of Sparda, and as Nero, I'm playing as on Dante Must Die. Vergil will absolutely cause more problems for you if you let him. And he has a lot more health than he used to, because they kind of... What they do in this, they kind of try and put all three of his classic fights in one, just without Beowulf. So he doesn't have access to Beowulf, but he will be using a lot of his tricks that he used to. It's still a big three-phase fight you're going through here, where phase 1 is very in line with his DMC3 fight on top of the tower, whilst his second one he's a lot more aggressive and will use Devil Trigger on occasion, much more in line with his second fight, whilst in the third phase he uses everything he has at his disposal and is unrelenting, like how he was as the final boss of DMC3. But it's in a similar fashion. Your best and safest bet is to watch what he's doing, wait for him to attack, and then respond accordingly. If you just go on the aggressive, you'll never stand a chance against Vergil. He will always counter you and rip the shit out of you. And it's also your best Royal Guard practice, because unlike back in DMC3, we have style swapping. So you're almost encouraged now to really show the difference of power that you have access to, because you have access to all your styles, instead of it just being you pick one like it used to be. Because the ultimate thing back in the day was if you wanted to have an easy time against Vergil, you just equipped Quicksilver and that was it. You had no reason to really use the others unless you were trying to showcase what you could do with the others. Which, to be honest, I can't remember if that's what I did. I think I used like Swordmaster or Trickster back in DMC3 for the final boss in the recording. I didn't use Quicksilver because I said it'd be too cheap. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what I did. So I only did Quicksilver and Doppelgang for like one mission each, I think. Like in the showcasing, was stuck to the main ones for the rest. So I wanted to try and level them up more. Watch out for that attack. It's very readable and he gives you a lot of time to register it, but it will do a lot of damage if it catches you. So, you know, don't let it. He also has a fun line, like it's a grab-based attack in the sense of you're locked in if it catches you. He stabs you with it and it will go something like just like old times, and then we'll go away with it. Like then we'll like rip it out and warp away. He still has good old judgment cuts. Everything you remember him having, he has, just with a couple extras. He also has access to Judgment Cut End, which if you played DMC4 Special Edition will worry you, because that attack was broken. It would just hit everything in the arena. It's just as broken as it once was. Well, I say that the way they've balanced it is that you can see the outline circle of how far its range is, so you know to get out the way of it. But if it connects with you, it will be its most damaging attack it can be. But as you can see, Vergil's recovery on some of his attacks is very quick, so you have to be on the ball throughout the entire duration of the fight to get the most of the damage here. But once Dante says it's about time to settle this, you enter phase 2. So Vergil will occasionally be using his own Devil Trigger, and it's a Sin Devil Trigger. Dante got his from his epiphany and stabbing himself. Vergil presumably got his Sin Devil trigger from eating that the Fruit of Power. It just gave him the sheer power he needed to get his own Sin DT. And when you look at the concept art, I do kind of wish that he got his own normal Devil trigger, and it's a shame that he didn't. But at the same time, I can kind of understand that they did this to make that power balance between Dante and Vergil, to make it more epic, even if they look like two Monster Hunter characters now. When he's doing this, be ready, because his Vergil turns himself into an airplane attack. If he get caught by it, it does insane damage, but you can parry it. The timing's a bit tight, but you can parry it and kill it out of the air. And it's kind of funny, some of the attacks you can use to get it out. Like, anything with Sin Devil Trigger will end it, as you can see. But it's the only way to answer it, in my opinion. For the sake of the cinematic fight, go full on with the Sin Devil Trigger and use it. Let's break him into phase 3. Once Dante speaks again, that's entering a phase 3. And now phase 3, he has access to Doppelganger casually, taking a cue from the reboot, I assume. Because in the reboot, that was what reboot Vergil's entire DT was. It was only Doppelganger. He didn't have a normal Devil Trigger because, you know, the reboot was whack like that. It wasn't prepared to be normal in any sense. But yeah, his normal Devil Trigger replacement now is Doppelganger, but he has Sin Devil Trigger, and you can use both independently. So you can have him Sin Devil Trigger and deal with the Doppelganger, or vice versa. The Doppelganger has its own health pool, but it's not much. So if you can get the opportunity to prioritize it, do so. Because if both of them are on your case, you're in trouble, because like I said, it acts independent. It will do what it wants. And I'm surprised, in the late thing, Vergil will start guarding attacks, and you have to break the guard to get the damage out. Otherwise, you'll never be able to hurt him that much. And it will surprise you what it takes to outpower him. This is Judgment Cut End. You see what I mean? You have an outline, but as soon as it goes, you can press in, so you don't need to wait for him to make the sword click. It's the actual blade that you need to be wary of. But look at how much effort it took me to break that. That's what I mean. Like, it will surprise you just what's required to actually break this attack. But now he's going to get very desperate and start using everything in his arsenal and his final push to get the desperate finish. Just keep on top of it. Space yourself out if you need to. Know when to push. If you just keep on going on the aggression yourself, you will always lose a 1-to-1 against him. And only when you see him stop, push. And even if it means tanking the fact that he'll be regenerating some health from the Devil Trigger, it might be worth letting him do so, just so you can get a better catch later on. Those judgment cuts, those chained judgment cuts, never stop being terrifying. They were exactly as scary in DMC3, and it's the same now. You get caught by it, it scares the crap out of you, because you never know what to expect and how much damage they'll do if even one gets you. But this should be the end of the fight. But we're not done yet. There's more to come.
Nero, it's my son.
Yeah, dumbass. You can't remember through that thick skull of yours?
Well, well. That was a long time ago.
I guess you were young once, too. And as much as I'd love to hear that story, I think it's about time we...
Ended this.